Hello and welcome to my class. This is the doorway that your student, child, scholar walks in through each morning. We're doing these virtually this year as we've done in previous years, so you can't see my classroom. So here it is virtually. That's mostly a sunspot, but your child probably sits in one of these desks. They come into my class each day in the hope, if I'm doing things right, is that they learn. Um, you are all parents of seniors. That means that your child, student, scholar has done school for a very long time. I assume that you probably have a rhythm for what the school year looks like for your child, student, scholar. Um, and I hope that rhythm is in gear. I hope that rhythm is feeling good for you. In this video today, I'm mostly just going to go over my syllabus for the class, talk about my expectations, some of my philosophy around how I teach. And if you have any questions, I welcome you to follow up with an email. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a question. You could also leave me a comment, just be in conversation. All right, I'm going to dive into the syllabus and we'll go from there. Um, this course is an AP course. It is AP English Language and Composition. It is a writing intensive course. So the focus of this course is primarily that students leave my class being really strong writers, feeling really competent about their writing, feeling really competent about their ability to express their ideas vocally, verbally, in print, and yeah, that is the main aim of the class. This syllabus you should have received earlier in the year, but I'll also link it with this video. It's an interactive syllabus, so if you go to present and then click on the different topics, you should be able to click around to the major strands of what makes this class work the way that it does. Um, if we go to the first topic, it's just contact information. Email is the best way to reach me. If I don't reply within 24 hours, please send another email, just prodding me to respond. I am in intermittent waves of busy, and I know that it's on me to be in contact and to respond, but I really appreciate a nudge every now and again as well. So that's my email. I typically check it between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. And the information at the bottom here is mostly for students, information about our Google Classroom, which is where most of our work is posted. If, though, your child is ever at home, sick, or home for whatever reason, they can always find what we are working on that day on Google Classroom. So that's something to keep in mind. Um, Overview of the course. Main thing here is one of my critical hopes as an English teacher is that students leave my course being able to read the word and the world. That's sort of borrowed from Freire, but I want students to feel really good about their place as global citizens, as people on this planet, and their ability to interact with it and speak into it. There are standards connected to the course. They're from the College Board. Um, One major thing to know is that this course is sort of structured around a project called the Reschool Project, where students are thinking about a subject that they haven't yet learned a sufficient amount about in their schooling experience and sort of educating themselves about that topic and eventually proposing a change to curriculum in Cambridge Public Schools that might address that need. And you can read more about the project in the syllabus. There are milestones for these projects. I won't get into that. I'm going to switch gears and talk about what we read in the class. This is a quote about literacy. Literacy is really important, defined just as reading and writing, the process through which we read and write. I come from a Black tradition, and literacy to enslaved people has been vital and crucial in terms of expressing what is fundamental to being human. And so, whenever I teach, I keep that in mind and I try to express that as much as I can to students. Reading and writing is important for the sake of being able to read and write, but it's additionally important because it's a way in which people have sought out freedom and have made themselves knowable to the world. Um, so, talked about the Reschool project. Students are going to be doing some independently guided reading around that project. I'm going to move out of the glare of the sun right now. Um, but we also have some sort of required course texts that I've interspersed throughout the unit. Some of these are student sourced, shorter readings, essays, poems, uh, mostly nonfiction. And then there are some whole class texts that we're going to be reading as well. They started the first one this week. It's Thick by Tressie McMillan Cottom. I don't have an exhaustive book list because I sort of vary the text that we read each year, sort of based on the students in front of me. In terms of what we'll write, this is a quote about language. Um, we write on these different strands. So expository writing, creative writing, reflective writing, research-based writing. Students are doing a weekly write-up, sort of on a rotation of about 3 weeks, where they draft the essay the first week. I give them my feedback the second week, and then they have the third week to revise. In between, they're also doing some timed writing in class. So there is a lot of writing that takes place. And the goal is to become better writers. And I think the only way to do that is by writing a lot and reading a lot of writing. In terms of grading and assessment, the floor for me is a 50%. The way that I explain that to students is that I don't really think the 0 to 100 scale makes much sense, given that, 90 to 100 is an A, and 80 to 89 is a B, 70 to 79, so forth. And then we get to an F, and an F is anywhere from a 0 to a 59, which means there are 6 shades of failure, 6 ways in which you could fail, from really, really, really failing to really failing to failing. And I think it's easier for students and easier for me if they start as a 50. It allows students who are experiencing struggles to be able to come back into the classroom and see themselves excel. So, yes, 50 is the floor in terms of my grading policy. 20% of their grade is formative assessments. So that's the classwork and homework that we do each day. We do a lot of writing in notebooks. Students do 2 or 3 additional notebook entries to what we do in class at home, and in whatever other spaces they can find. But the goal is to be engaged in a literate life, to be reading and writing as much as possible, as I said before. And then 80% of their grade is summative assessments. So these are the big assignments I give them that are meant to test their skills. These are the weekly write ups. These are also grades that they get on their progress on their year long project. I don't give extra credit. I have deadlines. Students are meant to meet those deadlines, but there's also flexibility around those deadlines. They are mostly there for students so that they don't overwhelm themselves with work sort of piling on top of each other. So if a student ever needs an extension, I'm willing to offer it to them. Formative assessments are sort of due at the end of the unit, that 20%, just because I don't have capacity to be grading endlessly. But summative assessments, that big bulk of the grade, students have till grades close, till the end of the quarter to get those in. All right. Beyond that, for most formative assessments, I grade on a 4 point scale where students can either get a good, which is a 4 out of 4, equates to 100%, on my scale where 50 is the bottom, an okay, which is a 2 out of 4, and that equates to a 75% on my scale, or a not yet, which is a 1 out of 4, and that equates to a 62.5. The way it's scaled the way it is to encourage revision. If a student doesn't meet all my criteria on an assignment, they're earning an okay. They tried, they created something, it's okay, it could be better. And so I want them to revise, and hopefully that C that they receive is encouragement to do that, because most likely, most definitely, they can do better. This is a note on summative assessments. For these, I usually give students a rubric so they can sort of self-assess before they turn into me. And then this is a note on academic integrity. The main thing is I don't want students to plagiarize. It is something that can result in really great consequences in college and in academic life more broadly. And so, if a student is struggling, I highly encourage them to come. Right now, I'm here at 7:40. I'm typically here by 7:30 in the morning. Students can find me and seek out help. I'm also typically available after school. This is a note on tech tools, probably not super important to you at home. In terms of class materials, students need a fully charged Chromebook, a folder to keep things in, a dedicated notebook for my class, pens and pencils, post-it notes, the text we're reading, and open mind. I think most students have all of these things at this point. Sometimes not all of them on a given day, but all of them generally in the class. There is a caregiver homework assignment, which I sent out earlier. It's completely optional, just if you have time. Send me an email about your child, sort of talking them up, giving me a sense of who they are. This is just to sort of give definition to the student in front of me as I work with them. They tell me a lot about themselves. I learn a lot about them through different channels, but you are one such channel through which I could get to better know the students in front of me. All right, there's a link to sign the syllabus, and that is it. This is curriculum night. This is my curriculum. I hope the video wasn't too boring to sit through. Have a great night, and please reach out if you have any questions.